because as a guy who has slipped and fallen in the past, it is easy to fall back into depression. For a video with this kind of topic, I figured having an emotional support animal was helpful for it. His name is Booper. Nice to meet you guys. All right, this is a topic that I've been interested in talking about for a while, but I wasn't exactly sure if or when I would ever really do it. That being said, I think it's about that time where we talk about a more serious topic. I think it's important to address these kinds of discussions occasionally just to make sure that people know that it's okay and not completely abnormal to feel certain ways. So there was a good portion of my life where I wasn't really happy with existing. In fact, it was only up until relatively recently that I started really thriving and catching my stride. I talked about being a late bloomer in a video a while back, kind of talking about how it took me up until my early adult years to really appreciate and enjoy life more. So when I was growing up, especially in my teenage years, I was just living to live. There wasn't a real purpose or aim towards my life. I woke up, I did exactly what I was supposed to do, and then I slept, and that was it. I did pursue creative things here and there, but a lot of my mental and emotional energy was dedicated towards survival. So there's a lot of periods of time where I would just have to stop being creative because all of my energy was allocated towards living. That may seem weird to somebody who is mentally healthy throughout most of their lives. People who haven't experienced chronic depression or anxiety wouldn't understand what it's like to divert so many resources towards maintaining will to live instead of diverting it towards things like a football league or playing poker or some other traditional adult thing that people do. There's a lot of people that I've encountered throughout my life that have had similar experiences to me when it comes to this mentality. A lot of people that I worked with at my last job are either suicidal or very depressed and have an apathy towards being alive. I've had a lot of people in my past, back in high school and even middle school, who would self-harm or have eating disorders or also be suicidal because they either didn't want to be alive or didn't value their life, which those are two different things. So the question that the title of this video poses is, are you happy to be alive? And that's a question that I don't think that a lot of people take the time to sit back and think about. I think on the surface, the majority of healthy-minded people would just say, yeah, it should be obvious that I'm happy to be alive. You could argue that it's a gift to be alive. You know, the odds of you getting born from a sperm meeting an egg are so astronomically low that you basically won the lottery several times just to be watching this video today. That being said, the experiences and circumstances that we go through in life determine how much we appreciate that life. People have had to struggle their entire lives to stay afloat, whether it be mentally or financially or emotionally or physically or whatever it might be. They're going to struggle more with finding the bright side in everything. And I hate that advice. Oh, just look at the bright side. Look at all the positives in your life. It's like, yeah, you can have positives, but if your negatives grossly outweigh those positives, reflecting on those positives aren't going to make a difference for the kind of people that I'm talking about. And for me, that was my experience for the longest time. I've always had a very supportive mother. I currently have a very supportive adoptive father. I've always had grandparents that love me unconditionally. My mom's side of the family has always been there when I needed them to. I've been very lucky, and if I was religious, I would say I've been very blessed to have a great support system. But that support system wasn't always everything that I needed. Sometimes it wasn't even what I wanted. There's a lot of times where the circumstances in my life need to be different for me to have been happier. There's mistakes that I made in the past. There's things that happened that were out of my control in the past that I've had to live with. And thankfully, with time, because I am a genuine advocate for time healing all wounds, at least eventually, with a lot of time and distance and emotional separation from those events, and having been given the time to process those events, I'm a lot more at peace now, and I'm able to really appreciate and enjoy life and to really live in the moment and appreciate what I have. But for people who experience daily depression, where they're putting all of their energy into just dealing with the day, where they don't have the emotional bandwidth to be able to focus on bettering their mental and emotional state, because you can, with a lot of effort and a lot of time, try to feel better. But whenever you're dedicating that many resources towards just surviving and meeting society's expectations, it's nearly impossible to do that. And these people, something that also happened to me, get trapped in a cycle of never having enough energy or care or will to be able to take the first step towards healing, because that first step is genuinely the hardest step. You are lifting your leg up from the weight of everything happening. Until you can lift it up and push it forward and take that first step, you're never gaining any momentum towards that healing process. And when you're sitting there idle, unable to gain that momentum, it feels like you're trapped in that experience forever. That's when people start to begin truly suicidal, whenever they feel trapped in their current circumstances, because they're so stuck in their mentality, because they have no bandwidth. They think the only way out is to end it. And the idea of non-existence is actually more preferable to them than fighting for a chance to be happy in their current existence. And that sucks. There's no other way to put it. It's a terrible thing. It's something that I struggled with for a long time, especially in my later teen years, but as well as my early adult years, where I was trying to figure out why life was worth living. Now, I was only, in the darkest point of my life for a short period of time, but there's been residual issues with that ever since. Now, obviously, I'm in a much better space now. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% the most mentally healthy person on the planet, but I'm doing a whole lot better, and I feel better. I don't fear for the idea of relapsing into another dark, depressive state. I think I'm finally past the point where those kind of things control me. Not because I'm better than the people who are currently depressed and experiences those things, but because I've gained enough experience and been lucky enough to have the bandwidth to take those steps towards healing. And I've done it in a responsible manner that I'm able to replicate time and time again. And with the momentum that I have, and with the responsibility that I have to maintain the momentum, because so many people depend on me, I'm able to stay afloat. Let's go back to the question, to the title of the video, because I want to make sure that we don't miss the point here. Are you happy to be alive? You could argue there's three different answers here. Obviously, there's the binary. There's yes, you're happy to be alive, and you count the blessings that you have, and although things may not always go perfectly, you're thankful for the time that you've had so far, and you're looking forward to the time that you have in the future. You could say no, because you've had a terrible lot in life, and you've had so many negative experiences, and all you wish is just for an escape out of that, and you don't really care how that escape comes. And then there's also the unsure, the undecided, the people who haven't reflected enough in their lives, whether it be due to lack of time, lack of knowledge on the subject, or fear of what the answer might be. And all three of those answers are valid for totally different reasons, because again, depending on our circumstances, everyone's answer is going to be a little bit different. My hope is, with this video, the topic that we're discussing and the question that I'm posing, is an honest reflection of where you're at in life. And being able to confront wherever that is a really important first step that you can act upon literally right now. You could pause this video and think about this question before continuing if you wanted to, but I know that I never do that when people ask me to on YouTube, so I don't expect you to either. That being said, if the answer is yes, I encourage you to reflect on why you're happy with living and make sure that you are holding on to that and continuing to replicate that and maintain your momentum. Because as a guy who has slipped and fallen in the past, it is easy to fall back into depression. You can almost become nostalgic for it at times. So make sure you're holding on to those things. If the answer is no, and you're in a healthy enough headspace to do it, I encourage you to reflect on why. And for some people, that's a really self-evident answer. Oh, my dad left me at a certain age, or I was beaten as a child, or this, that, and the other, which are completely valid reasons to be destroyed in life. I'm hoping that for the people who don't have a clear answer, they take time to critically think about why they're unhappy. And I'm hoping that once you can identify that problem, you're able to methodically and slowly work towards healing from that process. And if you're undecided, I hope that you reflect on where you might be at in life, and hopefully you're mentally healthy enough to take the steps towards going into the yes category. Because the hope is that all of us get to enjoy life for as long as we get to have it, because we're not guaranteed the next day. And for some people, that may be a relief. For other people, that could be mortifying. And I want everybody to be afraid of death. I want them to mourn the day that they have to leave the earth, because I want everybody to enjoy their experience here as much as they possibly can. I hope that the presence of Booper here made this topic a little bit more tolerable. It may be irresponsible to talk about these subjects online, but whenever I was going through rough times, videos like this really helped me keep perspective and really helped give me the knowledge that I have today to be able to work towards being in the yes category. If you guys enjoyed this video, I don't know why you would, but if this was helpful maybe, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more of any of my videos, because I do post daily, go ahead and subscribe. Not everybody that watches my videos are subscribed. It's free. I would really appreciate if you did it. Do not forget to keep it casual.